What's going on, everybody? Welcome into an all-new episode of the Pack a Day Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Herman. You can follow me on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. You can find the podcast at Pack a Day Podcast. You know him, Justis Mosqueda. You can find him on social media at JUMOSQ. And, of course, acmepackingcompany.com. Justis, how the heck are you doing?
I'm great. My Oregon Ducks allowed a touchdown to Wisconsin. My NBA team does not have a head coach right now because he got scooped into some poker game with the Mafia. Yeah, this is great. I love this.
Blazers not off to a terrible start, though, to start the season.
No.
Well, they were 2-2, I think, or right around there. So, yeah,
I watched
not
the first two games. Yeah.
They're going to be like one of those just nobody is going to want to play them sort of teams. And, whatever happens from there, we'll see. I have my sneaky Blazers prediction. They're going to be a play-in team. They're going to be a play-in team. I don't know if that's good or bad. That's kind of like NBA no man's land. You kind of don't want to be there, but they're going to be a play-in team this year.
Yeah, they're not going to tank or anything like that. So
yeah,
they want to play tough defense and just be pesky. So see how that works.
We shall see. We got a ton to get to. It's NFL trade deadline season. We've got Packers Steelers. We look forward to Panthers and Packers this coming weekend. Let's start with Packers Steelers. Justis, what were your kind of key takeaways from that game?
Surprised we went to the quick game so much. I mean, I know it ended up bearing out at the end, but I thought this was a block them up and chuck it week. And outside of like the Watson throw, which was like a scramble drill thing, I don't know if you got to see the all 22 of it yet. I get what he was trying to do now because the post is wide open. The problem is scramble drill. One of the guys who was, one of the lower route runners ends up turning it up, and he actually brings that safety that was right there, in the middle of the pass attempt. So the picture when Love threw it and then what it looked like afterwards was very different, but he hung a ton of air on that ball too. So, those things could kind of happen. Thought his outside of that, really, like his ball placement was really good. I mean, they cooked up a bunch of zone, like just finding holes underneath against cover 3 and cover 2. Me personally would love to see some hole shots and some posts being thrown against cover 2. Would like to see insert any of the cover 3 beaters that everyone has learned over the last 20 years of football to take advantage of those guys deep, but they just lived in a quick game and it ended up working out for them in the end. I mean, they had a huge second half, right? I mean, I don't know how many points, what the point differential in the second half was, and that included a Pittsburgh touchdown that was pretty bang. So
yeah, the second half point differential in this one was, sorry, I just had it and now I lost it. It was well, no, that's not right. 28-9 for Green Bay, and 6 of those were basically garbage time points at the end. So Green Bay completely dominated that second half.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess that's the bright spot of all of it. But that was my biggest takeaway, because I think I talked about it on this program. I was like, okay, on defense, you're going to play a lot of 4-3. They did play a lot of 4-3 because the Steelers, again, they used the extra offensive linemen. They put the multiple tight ends, all that stuff. Felt pretty good about that. And then what it was going to look like on the offensive side, I was like, block it up, throw it, chuck it. We're throwing deep again. Did not happen. No,
it really did not. I saw you post, and I want to ask you about this because you basically said something to the effect of like Green Bay is continuing to play for third and manageable, and it's maybe not the best idea for modern NFL offenses. So break down your thought process there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really hard to string along like 4 different third down conversions. Like I think Matt talked about it today in the presser where he was like, no one is even at 50%. So you're expecting, look, you hit 2, you're 25, right? You hit 3, you're 12 and a half. You hit after that, I'm not doing the math off the top of my head.
6.25.
Yeah, that's less than 7% chance that you can convert 4 third down conversions on the same drive. So when I see the 2nd and 10 handoff, I'm not a very happy camper right now.
I'm struggling with the sequencing because they need to run the ball at some point in time in order to be successful. Their run game is the run game's not great. Yeah, I know. I'm not totally against exactly that of like, can they use some of the quick game to be like an extension of the run game and whatever. But first down is obviously the most predictable rundown. So teams usually are a little bit more, conscientious of it. It's not always great and it's not always easy to run on first down. So you maybe try to catch them off guard. You maybe try to throw on first down. You end up in second and 10. So now if you don't run on second down and you're throwing again, now you're just throw. And again, you're potentially in a situation where like, all right, when is it that you actually want to run the football? But if you're not having success with it, second and long, not a great, and especially with how much Green Bay's doing it, where they're almost becoming ultra predictable when they're running on second and long as well. I don't know. My answer still to this is they just need to run the ball more effectively. And if they can do that, I'll feel a lot better about whenever they want to call the run. But right now they're not. And to your point, maybe they do just need to trust on Jordan a little bit more.
Yeah, the second and longs is what's killing me.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, that's the one that's killing me. And I know from back channels, like LaFleur knows it's not, like, analytically, it's not a good idea to run on second and long. And he's just like, nah, they're giving us the look. We're gonna do it. So yeah, I mean, have better plays on first down then. Like I don't know why he's so adamant about not wanting to get into like third and longs. Obviously it's bad business to be in, but when you're in second and 10, there's not a lot of good options that you have if you're taking the run game off the table, right? So like sometimes you're going to be in third and longs if you're in second and 10. I wonder how much of it is like they're not preparing for that many third and longs, so they don't have that much on the call sheet. So or like they're not doing that much in practice. So they're just like, we need to stay within our like, quote unquote normal game flow, which like that's kind of a thing. That happens at, I mean, my experience with it has been more like college football program, like a Stanford or something under like Harbaugh, right? Where they're like, yeah, we don't have an expansive third and long package because if we're doing that, we're doing something wrong because all we're doing is running the ball. The problem is this Packers team is not good at running the ball, hasn't been good at running the ball for half a season. And I'm not banking that it's going to be any good at running the ball in the second half of the season. It's just not.
The only thing that kind of going along with what you're saying is if they legitimately feel like 3rd and 7 they feel really good about, and 3rd and 10 they feel like really awful about. Like if for some reason that extra few yards is like a game changer for them on third down, I don't know. It shouldn't be, I guess, but I don't know. That's the only thing I can kind of put together. Or it's just again being stubborn and saying you're giving us the look. We're going to run the football and we're going to be stubborn about it. But yeah, it's not working either way.
Yeah. And you could play 4-down football too. Nothing says that, oh, dang, we're 2 yards short on the third down. Now we have to punt. No, you don't. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Like how many? Well, we got some punts in this game. We did. But like the Cardinals game, there was one punt in that whole game. Like field position, I think we overrate how much of field position battles it is in the NFL right now. A lot of drives end up either scoring or having turnovers. Like that's kind of the era that we're in the NFL. It's not a lot of like 10-3 games and you punched in the touchdown because of like you punted. It's really hard to win, to punt to win in this league.
And I get if you're punting, maybe you can pin them within like the 20 or something like that, which I'm sure is advantageous. But like in a normal drive, when teams are getting it at the 30, 35 yard line, they're like 2 or 3 plays within like field goal range anyway. So even if you're giving it up at like the 50 yard line, it's like 15 more yards than where the normal starting position is off of a kickoff. It's not really the end of the world. You're still trying to just keep them out of the end zone.
And if you miss a long field goal, it's the same thing as a turn. Like, I don't understand why we have it as like the risk calculus. We just treat it. We treat every field goal
worse. It's actually worse. Right?
Like, like we think of fourth downs in such a weird way because it's like, oh, you kicked and you missed. We're not gonna blame you for the bad field position. It's like that's absolutely a choice in the same way going for it on a fourth down is. But we never put that into the calculus. So yeah, it's I don't know. It's weird. Love did really well. Quick game stuff. I thought so like the deep out to, I think it was Romeo on like the second to last drive. It was like a 3rd and 10, and he ends up catching like a deep out, like 12 yards, like to the field too. I mean, they were on a hash. Long throw. Got to have the nuts to make it. Got to have the arm strength to make it. Got to have the ball placement to make it so he can, toe tap on the sideline, and he hit it all. Like, that was a really great performance by Jordan, I thought.
That one and the
That's why I'd like to see him chuck it deep.
The Christian Watson one before halftime too, right along the sideline too. Super anticipation throw there also. So yeah, no, I thought he was great. And it's such a weird dynamic because in like certain games we're like, I just wish he would have taken more of the short stuff. And I just wish he would have taken like what was there for him. In certain games, like wish he would have thrown it down the field a little bit more. I still think he's finding that perfect balance, but I don't know. He's struck a pretty good balance in this game with completing 20 in a row overall and just completely decimating the Steelers defense.
Yeah, hard to complain about that. Plus, we didn't shout out to the offensive line. Like the run game isn't working, but the pass protection, they're still there. Like now that the offensive line is healthy, I mean, they've kept Jordan pretty clean the last 2 games. Probably last 3, I would actually say. TJ Watt, where are you at? He was missing all game. I mean, Matt always has a really good pass rush plan. I think that's probably one of the more underrated things about him as a coach is like he's not going to let that guy just completely take over a game. In the same way like Micah took over like the Cardinals game, right? Like, no, that he will have a plan for him. So I thought that was really impressive from Matt this week.
It's the weird, like, this isn't necessarily new for the Packers offensive line, but it's still the weirdest dynamic of like having almost no stress whatsoever in pass protection and being completely like they can't move anybody in the run game. Like they're so good in pass pro.
We have all the 330 pounders too, right? Like this was supposed to fix it. We went out and we bought, Aaron
got some pounds. Yeah. Yeah. It's just such a weird dynamic. And like, clearly they're very good at teaching pass pro, at developing pass pro, at making sure that is something that they're going to protect, Brett and Aaron and now Jordan and now, but still just can't run the ball to save their lives right now. It's a wild concept.
Yeah, it's going to get weird, especially when like more receivers get on the field. The Packers played like their most amount of like 11 personnel stuff since Jaden Reed went down. So I assume that's just going to keep on rolling. I mean, Watson's only going to be healthier moving forward. They had him on a pitch count. I don't think it was a huge pitch count, but they had him on a pitch count, they said. And then, Jaden Reed was back at practice today wearing a helmet, catching balls off the jugs machine. So, like, I don't think he's going to be ready this week or next week or anything like that. But, like, maybe around Thanksgiving time, something.
Yeah.
You're going to have a lot of mouths to feed at wide receiver if you want to run on 2nd and 10 and play a bunch of 12 personnel. Good luck to you. It's going to be tough in the locker room.
Over under on how many more times Matt is asked about target share?
I don't know. This week was annoying because I could tell by the people who were asking me about it. They're like, I'm starting Matthew Golden in fantasy this week. And it's because there's like 6 teams on a bye and, Mike Evans got hurt and all this stuff. And they're like, what happened with his hip? I'm like, you covered the Seahawks. Why are you hitting me up about this? Like, get out of here. Don't take the Packers in fantasy. I've been telling you this for you. I was like, the 2 guys that we said in the preseason, I was like, Josh Jacobs. Yep. And, Jordan too. But like Josh Jacobs and Tucker Kraft. Like, those are the only guys that you want.
Very much so. By the way, I've got some good news for you. I forgot to bring or put this even on my note sheet, but somebody posted this for me the other day. We're midway through our draft from earlier this year when we said who would have better PFF grades. My friend, you are destroying me. You are beyond destroying me. So here, I'll get to it. So just for those of you who are listening or watching that didn't watch us previously, right before the season started, Justis and I conducted a draft and we went off of their PFF grades from 2024. And then we had to draft the players that we thought would take the biggest jump in PFF grade in 2025. I'll do my extremely disappointing list of players for. I have Jordan Love, so that's a good one to have. I feel good about that one. All right, deep breaths. I have Kenny Clark. I get some credit for getting Micah Parsons. I feel like for that, but I have Kenny Clark. I haven't looked at whether or not. I bet his grade's better in Dallas than it was, so I might get partial credit there. But Kenny Clark is gone. I have Dontavian Wicks, who has over the last handful of weeks done absolutely nothing and is currently banged up. I have Luke Musgrave, who has done next to nothing all year long. And I have Marshawn Lloyd, who we'll talk about more in just a moment. It is a disaster of a draft. It is a disaster other than Jordan Love and Kenny Clark getting us, Micah Parsons. It's not gone great. Here's Justis's group of 5, which he is doing pretty damn well on overall. Quay Walker, which I feel like I haven't looked at the grade, but I feel like he's probably been trending in the right direction. LVN banged up right now, but I still feel like above where he was a season ago. Jordan Morgan. All right. We'll see on that. Tucker Kraft, though. Tucker Kraft, a big one and the feather in your cap on that one. And then Devontae Wyatt, who then again was injured recently, but I still thought took a pretty solid step before that. So I would love to say a lot of season left, but I'm not feeling too great about my Lloyd, Wicks, Musgrave, and Clark picks at the moment.
The Lloyd thing is weird because so we're on 2 full months after his hamstring injury now. More than that. We're like 2.5 months away from his hamstring injury. And they asked Matt today, they were like, hey, when's he coming back? And he was like, oh, no time soon. Like, whoa, the hell?
Listen, I have no grounds to say. I love everyone on that beat. This is not a shot at anybody, and I have no grounds to stand on because I'm credentialed, and if I want to ask the question, I can actually show up and ask the question. And I'm just usually too busy to be able to get all the way over there just to ask a question and then come all the way home or whatever. But I don't know how you don't follow up and say, was there a setback? Is there anything additional? Is he going to be able to play this year? Like there was it was like, is he going to be coming? No, I wouldn't anticipate anytime soon. And then that was it. There was like no follow-up whatsoever. So like I said, I'm not throwing stones at anybody, especially in my extremely glass house that I'm in. But it just felt weird though. Like that seemed like a very obvious like follow-up to ask.
The Wicks thing is kind of getting weird too, because I think he's gotten one question about Wicks and it was today. And Wicks has been hurt for 3 weeks, and he was just basically like, yeah, Wicks isn't practicing today. So I mean, relatively small potatoes in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, no, so that's weird. And then who are the other guys that you mentioned? It was Lloyd. It was
Musgrave is the other one, and then Clark.
Oh,
Wicks,
Musgrave is back to tight end 3.
Yeah,
John Fitzpatrick jumped him again this week. So yeah, I don't know.
He had his one catch.
I mean, it might just be like when they do the nub stuff, just to be able to like play the games with him lining up out wide. The team is in base 4-3 personnel, so they don't have a slot defender. And then you do all the nub stuff or splitting out Musgrave out at wide receiver so that you end up being put in a position where, a linebacker is on one of the slot defenders or something like that. But I would have to assume that's going to happen less and less because you're going to want Christian Watson in on as an outside receiver more and more. So
you would think so. Although they seem to really like that formation. So we'll see. It is interesting. I'm not surprised Fitzpatrick is ahead of him, to be honest. He's just, he's got to do something out there in order to garner the snaps. And again, it's his usual 1 catch, 4, 5, 6 yards, whatever it was this week that just like, yep, that's the Luke Musgrave experience right now.
And I thought Fitzpatrick did pretty well too. Like they had him lined up on defense, or I guess for them, it's outside linebackers and just like one-on-one, like not combo blocks, anything like that. And, he got the edge. Like one of the long runs, like he sealed TJ Watt on one of those outside runs. And I think it was Wilson just, ran up the sideline.
Any thoughts on losing Ben Sims or Micah Robinson?
The Robinson one, I think, kind of put the defense in a pickle just from a practice perspective. I don't think it matters for in-game, but you need more bodies to be able to practice with. Wasn't surprised that they brought in Heron to fill that role, especially since he had already been with the team in training camp and stuff like that. Because the thing is, the Packers only had 1 practice squad corner. So when Robinson got plucked up, they only had 5 guys on the entire roster who have ever practiced at cornerback, right? And 2 of those guys, Kamal Haddon and Bo Melton, have never played a regular season snap on defense. So pretty thin. I think it was the right move to bring in another cornerback and not use that practice squad roster spots for something else. But again, I don't like 4 injuries away from that ever impacting you on a game day roster. So I don't think it's going to matter that much. As far as Sims, not really. He didn't play any offense this year. The only time he got in the game was to, I guess, protect. I would actually be interested in seeing how like PFF calls that. Is it a pass protection snap? Because you're going backwards, but it's a kneel. That's the only time that he had ever gotten into the game on offense. And on special teams, he was only really contributing on kickoff return as a blocker. And I don't think that he was even that good at it. So like he wasn't helping on field goal protection. He wasn't helping on punt protection. So he was a very expendable spot. I think you and I had tabbed like 3 potential guys that they were going to release for the Christian Watson thing, right?
Yeah.
It was going to be Sims. It was going to be Donovan Jennings because he's OL 11, if I can keep my count right now.
Depending on, I think he's 10 right now, but unless there's somebody that
Monk is up, right?
Yeah, even then it's still because you got Walker, Banks, Jenkins, Morgan, Tom, Belton, Jennings, Monk, Ryan, Kennard. Nobody else. Only 10.
Okay.
Glover on IR, obviously.
Yeah. So yeah, he's OL 10. You can get rid of that because game day roster, you're not going to carry more than 8 anyway. And then the other one was the kicker, which, oh boy, do we have strong opinions about kickers this week.
Do you have a strong opinion on kicker?
I mean, I'd hold on to both of them just in case. Is my opinion about the kicker right now.
That's where I'm at this week as well. My guess is Brandon McManus will kick this week, but you don't need the roster spot for anything this week. I don't think you're making any other transactions
call
this
up
week. Yeah. So
like
there's nothing else you need it for at the moment.
No point.
Yeah.
So I'd hold on to both of them. McManus has been quietly really bad this year. Crap, I ran the numbers. Okay. EPA for kickers. There are 36 NFL kickers who have kicked as many balls as Haversick this year, which is 10. That is including extra points and all that stuff. So there's 36 of them right now. Brandon McManus ranks 34th in EPA with -7, 7.3 if you want to get specific. The only kickers behind him are Blake Grupe, the New Orleans Saints guy. If I remember correctly, he was like their IPP guy, and he just like happened to make their team. And then in last place is Josh Carty of the Rams, who is, and this will come back up later in this episode, one of the better kickers at the dirty balls on kickoffs. So I'm not even like really sure if he's here to be a place kicker as much as he is here to be one of these guys who's like a kickoff specialist. So
right.
Yeah, a whole other thing you have to think about in the special teams game now. So yeah, I mean, McManus hasn't been playing good. I think he's like 2 of 6 past 40, which you have to remember. A 40-yard field goal isn't from the 40-yard line. The 40-yard field goal is the 10 yards for the end zone and the 8 yards back from the line of scrimmage where you're holding the ball.
Yep.
So that's really from the 22. If you get outside of the red zone, he's only made like a third of his kicks this year. That's not where you want to be. And that's how you find yourself 34th out of 36 kickers. So I would cover my butt just in case. I'm not saying hit the button right now, fire him, all this stuff. But if he looks shaky in this upcoming game, that's not good either. Plus the fact that he's still limited. You know, we're recording this on a Wednesday night. He was still limited on Wednesday.
Yep.
So you can't tell me he's 100% if he's still listed as limited.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. There's no reason, make the game time decision of who you want to kick on Sunday based on how McManus is feeling. If it is McManus and you go with him, see how he kicks, and then you discuss it next week. But until you need that roster spot for something, give yourself the insurance and don't let Haversick go anywhere.
Yeah, I just hold on to, unless someone comes calling and is like, look, we'll give you like a 5th or something for one of the kickers. Like, okay, at that point, do whatever you want. But
yep,
if there's no other pressures on this roster right now, so just hold on to them.
What are the odds? Whichever kicker they decide on, they actually get right. The other one go and thrive. That's what I know is whoever they go move on from, they're going to thrive somewhere else.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you better pick the right one. You better pick the right one because you're going to have to decide on one of these kickers eventually, right?
Correct.
Even if it's who's up for the game. So you better pick the right one.
It would be the most, like, after all these years of like, we're not going to keep, extra spots for special teams players or things like that. Then the Packers carry 2 kickers for a huge chunk of the season on the roster, not even using one of them. Like, only one of them is going to be active every time. Just special teams, man. Freaking special teams. Did you want to talk about the kickoffs right away since we're already in the realm? You mentioned the dirty kickoffs.
Yeah. The Carolina Panthers are one of the 2 best teams in the NFL right now at dirty balls. So
it doesn't matter because even the normal ones that we're letting go into the end zone after hitting in the landing zone, even the ones that we returned, we had one to the 23 and one to the 26 this week. So whatever, start at the 20, just let the offense cook.
Yeah. It's big perceiving Savion Williams on kick return week. Again, yeah, like you could look at any of the kickoff numbers. Like it's the Rams and Carolina, like number 1 and 2 by far, and then it's everyone else. Like they're the best. They're the best teams at doing it right now. Usually, teams start off at like the 25-yard line on average.
Can I ask you something? I asked Aaron Nagler this earlier today too. If you are willing to use Keisean Nixon on even one punt return snap, why is the 2-time All-Pro kick returner not used a single time as a kick returner? The thing that he does best in the NFL, they are refusing. Even if he gets one special team snap, Justis, I want that to be on kick returns, not on punt returns, on kick returns. I don't get it.
Buddy, I don't know. And if the deterrent is that, like, oh, they won't kick it to him, then I will take starting at the 30-yard line.
Yeah.
Every single drive. What are we? I don't understand.
35.
Oh, yeah, 35-yard line. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. This team is so close to playing the right players, though. So close. We're like almost there. We're almost there.
Got to figure out kick returner, kicker, and now Neiman's out, so that's going to be a problem. I'm assuming Christian Welch just takes his place would be my guess, but we'll see.
Well, that or like Mosby too. Like Mosby's been up the last 2 games, and Mosby, I know on the Packers.com roster, he is listed as defensive end. He doesn't play defense. He's here to play special teams. He plays the linebacker spots on special teams, not the defensive end spots on special teams. And he has a background as an off-ball linebacker too. So yeah, some sort of combination between Welsh and Mosby, I think, is going to make up for Neiman. I don't think either of them are as good as Neiman, but Neiman, I mean, probably after Zane and Bo Melton, he's probably our best special teamer right now, I would say.
Okay.
So
you're the special teams king, so I will defer to you on special teams rankings, power rankings. Who's the worst Packers special teams player?
Javon Bullard.
Really? Interesting.
He got a penalty this game too. Yeah.
I think, I do remember that.
You, like the beginning of the year, they try to have him at like punt gunner, and he just couldn't get off of it at all. Like he got like driven to the sideline, and then they were, after the first game, they were like, "Uh-oh, that doesn't work." So yeah.
I would say the interesting thing is the way that he plays defense. I would have like predict that he would be one of the better special teams players, but I mean, it's not that simple.
The intensity is not the problem. It's more of a it's a technique thing.
Yeah, technique that checks out. That checks out. Just going back to Packers Steelers for a moment. I know you always kind of chart the depth chart changes. Obviously, right guard and corner were 2 of the big ones. We can talk about those as well, but any other big noteworthy depth chart changes? Hey, friends, it's time to get our sleeper picks in for Packers Panthers this coming Sunday, noon in Lambeau Field. I'm excited for this game, and I'm going rookie heavy for my picks in this game. First of all, Matthew Golden. He's a little bit frustrated, hasn't been utilized more. 35.5 receiving yards. I'm going more than 35.5 receiving yards for Matthew Golden in this game. I think Matt LaFleur and this Packers offense will be a little bit more intentional in getting Matthew Golden the ball. I expect him to bounce back and have a big performance against Carolina. So Matthew Golden, more than 35.5 receiving yards. On the flip side, for Carolina, Tet McMillan, more than 51.5 receiving yards. So maybe a slightly high number here, but I expect Carolina is going to have to throw the ball to try to get back in this game at different points in this game. And I'm expecting that, once again, a big, tall, physical receiver on the outside is going to give Green Bay some troubles. And I'm expecting Carolina is going to try Tet McMillan early and often in this game. So Tet, more than 51.5 receiving yards. And then Ryan Fitzgerald, their rookie kicker, more than 1.5 field goals made. Whether he makes it or not might be a little bit more interesting, but I expect this is going to be another bend but don't break performance from Green Bay's defense, which is going to allow Fitzgerald to have multiple field goal attempts. And I expect that he's going to make at least 2 of those. So Matthew Golden, more than 35.5 receiving yards, Tet McMillan, more than 51.5 receiving yards, and Ryan Fitzgerald, more than 1.5 field goals made. The best part is that you can get a 100% match up to $100 by utilizing code Packaday over on Sleeper. Again, a 100% match by utilizing code Packaday over on Sleeper. Terms and conditions apply. Check those out over on Sleeper. And of course, they are available in over 25 states. So if you haven't checked it out yet, what are you waiting for? Get after it and get your Green Bay Carolina picks in for this week. Hey friends, hope you're enjoying today's episode with Justis Mosqueda. We'll get back to him in just a moment, but before we get there, I want to remind you to check out the Luigi's Frozen Pizzas wherever you can get them in your local grocer's freezer section. Today we're going to talk about the original pepperoni pizza. This is a classic Luigi's experience, thin, crispy, and timeless. 12-inch thin and crispy crust pizza made right in Wisconsin with Wisconsin mozzarella, zesty tomato sauce, Parmesan cheese, Romano cheese, and of course, their deliciously seasoned pepperonis. They are crisp, crunchy, satisfying, and you can find them in the freezer section of your local grocer. Check out luigispizza.com for the location nearest you. Luigi's Pizza, follow them on social media at Luigi's Pizza, and make sure you're doing everything you can to stock up on your victory pizzas. Also want to talk to you about Alchemy Wealth Management, retirewithryan.net. If you haven't checked this out yet, now is the time to do so. Go over to retirewithryan.net, set up your free consultation, work with Ryan, and he will do all the heavy lifting for you. This is the best part. It's a free consultation. He's going to get you on the pathway to success for your retirement planning, for your financial future. Cannot recommend it enough. Ryan's awesome to work with. Again, check it out over at retirewithryan.net and Alchemy Wealth Management. Now let's get back to the wonderful Justis Mosqueda.
So let's just hit those off the top, right? They rotated series by series at right guard. The only time that they wasn't just like one drive on, one drive off for Jordan Morgan and Sean Ryan was on a long drive that Sean Ryan started, and they inserted Jordan Morgan like once they got close, like the warning stripe of the red zone. I wonder if it's like a conditioning thing where they're just like, maybe Ryan
Weird.
can't go yeah, like it, I never got like they usually don't do in drive substitutions on the offensive line unless like obviously injuries and stuff like that. Other things on the offensive line should be noted. Anthony Belton has played every single backup left tackle snap this season for the Packers. Keep that in mind. He is their backup left tackle. If Rasheed Walker ever goes down, he was out for I think like one snap in this game. Darian Kennard, since they've been focusing Morgan on one spot, Darian Kennard has been the backup right tackle. Cornerback, we were all lied to several times. I don't have the memory of a goldfish. I want you guys to remember this when you guys bring up stuff from press conferences. This team will lie to you to your face. They said all week, we're going to ride with our guy, Nate Hobbs. He's going to have some bumps and bruises, yada, 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 all that stuff. And then they just started Carrington Valentine. I thought it was really interesting too. Even like the SNF, like they have the little bumper stuff, right? With the starting lineup and the guys say their name and all that stuff. Nate Hobbs was still the starter in that. So I don't know what the timeline looks like when they decided Carrington Valentine was going to start, but at minimum, they had a production meeting with the league's partner and did not include that Carrington was going to start in that game. So an interesting point of data. Carrington played every single defensive snap until the second 2-point conversion play where the Packers played their goal line defense where they only have one DB on the field, and that DB is Xavier McKinney. Interestingly, the last time the cornerbacks were on the field for one single snap, it was after the touchdown on the first 2-point conversion attempt.
Okay.
Nixon came out of the game and Hobbs came into the game. That was really interesting. So I don't know if because that drive was a lot of, if you guys don't remember, it's hurry up, no huddle, that entire drive. So like those guys are out there. Could have been a Keisean is tired thing. Could have been a Keisean was benched, and it just happened that the last substitution that they got in was the last play that we got to see the cornerbacks, right? I mean, it was definitely an odd way to use it. Hobson's still coming in the games in dime packages. He got in one snap that way. He got in, I believe, 2 snaps as a replacement slot defender for Javon Bullard in obvious passing downs. This is an admission by the Packers that Hobbs is a better coverage player out of the slot than Bullard, which I agree with.
We've said
the
forever.
The interesting thing to me is so the Packers match personnel, defense and offense, right? So if you have 3 wide receivers, they're going to play nickel because you're going to have a slot receiver on the field. So they want a slot defender on the field. That's what it boils down to. In 11 personnel, you're going to see a lot more passes. So inherently, the Packers' nickel defense is going to see a lot more passes because that's when they play those guys, right? You would think that if you're going to rotate in a guy based off of being a better coverage defender, he would be in the game more than, at least in that specific situation, twice in the whole game, right? Like if you have the cheetah package on the field and Kingsley Enagbare or Baron Sorrell at 250 pounds is playing defensive tackle, why do you not also have your best coverage option in the slot on the field, right? Maybe that's something that develops over the next couple of weeks, but I'm not. Keisean had a terrible game this past game, dude. I understand that I've been the Keisean stan and have kind of been right for like 2.5 seasons. This last game, he played horribly. I don't think I've seen him play worse. Okay, but I'm not convinced the Packers' best lineup in the secondary isn't Evan Williams and Xavier McKinney at safety and Carrington Valentine and Keisean Nixon at outside corner. And then when you need to play Bullard in like 1st and 10, for example, right? 1st and 10 in the red zone. When the offense is backed up, like all those type of short yardage, 3rd and 1,
Second
any of
and
these
5, something like that.
Yes. I'm cool with Bullard playing the slot in those spots.
Yep.
And he might be our best player in those spots. But if it's like 3rd and 8, why isn't Hobbs in there?
Yep.
Like anytime the cheetah package is out there, right? Where you have 3 defensive ends on the field, Hobbs should be out there. I think that's my opinion. But I'm not sure that that's not the best lineup. But at the same time, I understand why the Packers are like, dude, we spent a 2nd-round pick and $48 million, and we're combining them to make one slot defender. And it's like, I don't care. At this point, it's sunk cost. Like, you just put your best players on the field.
Not only that, but like there is a role for both of them, and Bullard is still getting some safety looks as well. Williams got more, but Bullard still got a couple of those as well. What they did, sorry to cut in.
No, you're good. What they did with the safety rotation this week, they split it up by quarters. So 1st and 3rd quarter was Evan Williams in 4-3, and in their 4-3 base, right, where there's not a slot back. And then in the 2nd and 4th, it was Javon Bullard until the first 2-point conversion attempt, where the team was like, "Hey, we're going to get our best players on the field to stop it, like this one down." And it is, I'm judging it by their personnel usage. That was their admission that Evan Williams is our best safety. We want our 2nd best safety. We want him out on the field on a scoring play, right? But in nickel sets, when Bullard's in the slot, Evan Williams is always going to play safety. So it doesn't look like a 50-50 split because it's 50-50 in their base defense, but it's all Evan Williams in their nickel because Bullard's playing the nickel.
Yeah, no, makes sense. Like you said, they're it seems like they're close to figuring out some of their best alignments, but they still got a couple things to work out here along the way. Hopefully they figure it out sooner rather than later. All right. Any other depth chart changes?
No, pretty even split at D tackle right now
Yep.
between the top three guys with Wyatt coming back. That was nice to see. Wyatt played a lot more in the second half than he did in the first half, but it all ended up coming out about even. This year, Stackhouse still only got like 5 snaps. I don't know if Warren Brinson was healthy to go in that game. He popped up on the injury report on Friday and was listed as questionable going into the game. Didn't play, or what wasn't active, didn't suit up for the game on Sunday. On the Wednesday injury report, he was unlisted with an injury. So I don't know if we're going to see Brinson or Stackhouse as DT4 this week. At wide receiver, Christian Watson already well out snapping Matthew Golden as an outside receiver right now. I think Matthew Golden is your slot moving forward. Now, when Jaden Reed comes back, Golden might be wide receiver 4. I mean, that's a realistic thing that could happen. I don't know if it's gonna happen, and he'll probably still be rotated in plenty in that role. And they'll probably split between outside and inside. But right now, it seems like they really want to roll with Dobbs and Watson as outside receivers, and they're obviously going to want Jaden Reed to play in the slot because that's kind of the only thing that he can do in Matt LaFleur's offense right now.
I'm going to be very interested to see after that how much, once everyone's healthy, how many snaps does Wicks get in that? And then is there anything left over for Heath and Savion Williams? I mean, obviously you can't have 7
I don't know if Heath is going to be on the team. Like,
that's one. That's number one. And then obviously, even if he is, you can't have 7 guys active on game day. So inherently, some of that's going to take care of itself. But I'm very interested to see if there's any leftovers, even after the top 5 guys, and maybe even after the top 4. I'll be very intrigued by that.
And it's going to be an interesting thing too with Savion and how we talk about like the kick return and stuff like that. Like if Keisean ends up being on a pitch count and he's rotating at cornerback, and because he's rotating at cornerback, the team feels comfortable in allowing him to be a kickoff returner, what does that leave Savion on the roster to do? Because he doesn't do anything else really on special teams. And all he does on offense is this gadget stuff. Like he got in this game. If you look at it, it's like he has like 10 snaps or something in this game. Almost all of that came in the last 2 drives where they're just trying to milk the clock. They're handing the ball off every single play. And they just, could have used anyone at wide receiver to run block on the perimeter when they're doing inside run. So he was kind of out there, as a decoy, basically, which is sort of what he's doing on like gadget plays and stuff too. So it's going to be hard to justify that role if he doesn't grow into something else.
Just going back to Nixon and corner/kick returner for a second. I don't know if you caught this, but this week when asked about the competition at corner, Matt LaFleur said corner will remain a competition and they still have faith in Nate Hobbs after benching him for Valentine. That competition includes Keisean Nixon. So he was not excluded from that competition moving forward. It was noteworthy, just to say the least. I don't know that anything comes of it, but maybe just a message to Nate Hobbs, to Keisean Nixon, again, going back to maybe the final 2-point play. Maybe there was something a little bit more there, but it sounds like it's a triple threat match for the 2 outside corner spots at the moment.
Yep. And that's exactly the first thing that came to mind too when I looked at that last play. Because I think I had heard the press conference before I charted the full defense. And I was like, oh, that might have been a benching. It might not have, but it might have been a benching like super late. So, I mean, the way that Matt made it sound like it's a whole lot of like in week competition stuff, which like, I don't know how much you're getting out of NFL practices. Just in terms of like these guys, it's not like we're talking about rookies.
No,
these guys have all started many NFL games and have, a lot of work in their career. So it kind of seems silly to me to put that much stock in how a week of preparation goes.
Well, today he said, what did he say? He said practice the previous game. And then he also said sometimes it comes down to he was talking about the offensive line in this regard, but he said practice, game, and potentially matchup can play a factor in that as well. So it sounds like there are multiple factors to it, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. I just, again, why isn't Bullard in these? Like, I guess he's in competitions, but he's like pushing guys out, right?
Yeah.
There's never push back the other way.
I love Javon. I love the way that he's playing. I love how he attacks downhill.
He's fine. He has a role on the team.
Yes, I'm
Like,
so
I'm
with
not
you in the
saying
third and long in situations where, yes, like especially in some of these situations where you get into man-to-man, not that you can just again take him out if you're going to play man, you can't have that big of a tell. But in some of these third down man-to-man situations where he's matched up with like Amon-Ra St. Brown in the slot or whatever, like some of those situations, like it does not go great.
Well, there's one of them against the Steelers. They were in zone, but there's one against the Steelers where they had a guy on a cut split, right? So you're like the wide receiver is like 5 yards out from the offensive tackle, and they motion another guy over, and like Bullard ends up playing like outside leverage on the guy instead of inside leverage on the slot when he's the slot guy. Like they basically double teamed the outside guy, and the slot guy was wide open. And I think it was a big third down conversion. It was like 3rd and 8 or like 3rd and 10
DK Metcalf for a huge gain. They left DK Metcalf uncovered. Yes.
Yeah.
It was not great.
Yeah. I mean, that's a coverage bust, right? Those are the situations that Andy and I are talking about where it's like, are we sure Hobbs shouldn't have been in the game for that? Like, I don't think either of them need to be sitting on the bench the entire game. I think there's ways that you could use them, and help your football team situationally. I think the GM and front office and all that stuff are probably crapping bricks right now because they're like, we spent so much to make one slot defender. It's like, okay, well, that is done now. That we'll worry about the cap stuff and all that stuff next year. Right now, we're in season trying to win a Super Bowl. How about we use these guys correctly?
I have a parent who will remain unnamed who, if they go out and spend money on food and they don't like it, they are going to eat it anyway because they spent the money on it. Even if they can't stand the food that is on their plate, they're still going to finish it for the principle that they spent the money on it. And every single time, if I spend some money on something, Justis, and it's pitiful or awful and I don't like it, I'm not going to eat it for the sake of, I already spent the money on the money's gone no matter what. I'm not going to make my life more miserable because I spent the money on it. And it feels like sometimes the Packers have this mentality of like, I already spent this money on it, so we're going to grin and bear it. We're going to force it down. We're going to drink a lot of water, and we're just going to see a lot of this specific. We're going to see a lot of Nate Hobbs at outside corner because damn it, that's what we spent the money on. And it's just like, just figure out what's best. You can't get your money back. There are no refunds in NFL free agency. So just put the best guys on the field, and whatever you already paid is irrelevant because you already paid it and you can't get it back anyway.
Yep. I'm with you. Play the players. And if you want to have a competition with Hobbs and like after this last game, if you want to do the whole, like, if we're using the last game as evaluation for competition moving forward, right? You probably should push Keisean, right? At outside corner. It was not good. No. And I'm the Keisean apologist. So like if you want to have Carrington to be outside and have Hobbs and Nixon duke it out, go for it. I would like to see Hobbs and Bullard kind of duke it out a little bit too in the slot. I'm open to all those things a whole lot more than Evan Williams ever going to the bench. I don't think Evan Williams should go on the bench.
Give me 5 plays of Bo Melton while you're at it. I just want to see it. I don't need any more than 5. I just need 5 just to see like, what does this actually look like? I just want to see. I wouldn't even hate like 3 plays of Kamal Haddon because I just want to see it. And if you never do it again, that's fine. I just kind of want to see what the heck it looks like.
And the Haddon stuff is really funny because I think he's played like 3 special team snaps like all year. Like he's people for some reason think like everyone on the bottom of the roster is going to be like a special teams guy. Not how it happens in Green Bay. Like Haddon is here to play defense. He is not here to play special teams decidedly. And they try to make it work again early on in the season when like Bullard was getting in as like a punt gunner and stuff. Haddon was like a jammer. It didn't go well, and they got him out of there pretty quick.
I saw late in this game, Edgerrin Cooper was on kick coverage. Was that just taking Nyman's place, or was that something that they've been doing more often lately?
They use those guys on kick coverage.
Okay. Like I've seen in the past, I just didn't know how often it was.
Yeah, it's kind of like a game by game, they rotate it thing. Like the one thing those guys have all graduated out of is field goal protect or punt protection. Like that's something like Quay and all those guys used to do a whole lot early on in their careers, and the only guy who still does it now is like LVN, in terms of like
Okay.
the starters. And I guess McDuffie, but like he's a part-time player on defense
Yeah.
anyway.
Gotcha. Biggest issue for the Packers is blank.
Running the ball.
Yeah, we're on the same page.
No doubt in my mind. It's running the football. The defense actually, like I understand there was like a lot of scoring plays. They kind of put an end to a lot of stuff. Like there weren't a lot of touchdowns in this game, a lot of field goals, but the defense, you're still kind of calling that a win defensively.
Take the garbage
football.
time 6 off the board, and you feel really, really good about under 20 points in this game, and that's really ultimately what it was.
Yeah. So yeah, running the ball. They're doing a lot of rotation stuff with Emmanuel Wilson right now. This had not been the case 3 weeks ago. But now they're like giving him full drives. Like if he comes out and it's drive starter, it's pretty much he's going to be the running back this drive.
Yeah.
And then, Jake, because I think he got in like the third drive and something like that. And you saw it more late in the game when they didn't want to wear out Josh Jacobs.
I wonder how much of that is just Jacobs' injury at the moment, and if they ultimately get back to Jacobs just kind of being the full-time guy. Yeah, I would think so too. But Wilson's played well too. So
he's still on the injury report too.
Yes. Yep. I was worried
still on the
because
injury report. He's listed as limited.
Yeah. When I first watched the game, I didn't think Jacobs played the entire fourth quarter. And I'm like, I wonder if he aggravated something, because it was odd. And then I realized like it was Wilson to start. And then Jacobs got like a handful of plays in the middle. Maybe it was even a little bit less than that, but he did play. And then Wilson finished it off once it was, basically over at that point. So felt a little bit better about it. But for a bit there, I was like, oh crap, did he aggravate something? But it didn't seem like it.
Gonna say something very justice coded, and I apologize on the front end. I think he was out there on the hands team for a kickoff return when the Steelers tried the onside at the end. So should be, I think he's healthy enough for Josh Jacobs to be grading out a football game. I don't think he's 100%. I mean, because of the practice limitations and all that stuff. I think that's pretty obvious.
For sure. I think what it is right now. And hopefully as he gets healthier, they, work him back in. But again, Wilson's been good in the meantime. So good for Wilson. Packers, Panthers. What are you looking forward to in this one?
We're going to need to stop the run pretty well. They got two running backs they like to feed a lot if they're given the opportunity. On Wednesday, their center, right guard, and right tackle were all out with an injury in practice. It's going to be pretty hard to run the football that way, though. Josh Nijman, we might see an appearance from him. He is one of their backups. He's their swing tackle right now. If someone is down, gives an opportunity to him to play his former team. The quarterback injuries are freaking weird, man. We came into this week being like, it's probably going to be Andy Dalton, because who knows if Bryce Young is going to be healthy. Nope, he's a full participant on Wednesday after missing Sunday's game, and Andy Dalton is out with a busted thumb, or something with his thumb. He was completely DMP. Their practice squad guys are Mike White, who they signed last week, and Hendon Hooker, who they picked up after the cutdown deadline. So neither of their practice squad guys have been there for very long. That's who's backing up Young if he's not fully healthy with the ankle. And Young is a short quarterback behind a banged up offensive line who relies on his mobility and has a banged up ankle. I feel bad for the kid, man, because we should be able to take advantage of that pretty easily. We already mentioned it on the other side, the special team stuff. It's going to be a weird game for Savion Williams, because they're definitely going to do a lot of those dirty balls, those knuckle balls that, it's hard to track in the air. Thing is going to hit the ground, and you got to be able to cover it. Saban hasn't had to cover a lot of those since the Cowboys game. Did it poorly in the Cowboys game, hoping he's going to be better than he performed in the Cowboys game. But those are kind of the big things that I'm paying attention to with Carolina. As far as the injury report goes, pay attention to that offensive line.
LVN's going to really work to come back a little bit quicker once he sees that depth chart on the Carolina Panthers side. If the injuries are what they are, that his injury might get very healthy very quick if he starts seeing some of the backups out there. But Yeah, well, maybe you can give him one more week because Micah and Gary and the rest of those, Kingsley and Igbari having a quietly nice season as well. Those guys should be able to tear up that offensive line.
Yeah, I'm at the point where I'm throwing out Kingsley's 2024 season and saying like he was probably still coming off of the knee
For sure.
because
I think so too.
he
He looks so much
looks
better.
like the 2023 guy, right? Yeah, exactly. This was a weird one on the injury report. Did you catch who the new injury is?
I did not.
Aaron Banks, shin.
Really?
Last week it was groin.
Gotcha. So I saw Aaron Banks and I just assumed Aaron Banks is on there again.
That's what I did, but then I like triple checked. I was like, I can't even keep track of the injuries that you've had this year anymore, which is not a good thing. I understand everyone is busting Brian Gutekunst's his balls right now because of the two big free agent signings, but it's never a good thing when you're on like injury 4 and people don't even notice that it was injury 4 because they're so used to injury 3.
He's like plain version of Marshawn Lloyd. He's got the same slew of injuries, but he's actually just finding a way to play through it. Yeah. It's not great.
Do you think we're going to make a trade? I don't think we're going to make a trade. I want that on the record before the deadline.
I was just about to ask you this. I think they do. No, you're probably right. I was going to say I think they do something small, but I don't even know. I haven't researched it yet. I'm going to do an episode for Saturday of like players that the Packers should target at the deadline or like could theoretically target at the deadline. So I'll look at it a little bit deeper when I do that. We've talked about the positions, defensive tackle, corner, which again, I don't think they're necessarily going to do with what they've invested into it, as we've talked about. I can't imagine they're going to find an offensive line on the trade market that they like better than what they have, that they're also willing to give up on players that they have, and knowing what it would take from a trade value standpoint to get somebody better than what they have. I just don't see that necessarily happening unless they want like they want to find like an Andre Dillard-esque, like another like swing player or something, but they really don't need that at all. And the only other spot I would kind of say would be if you want to find an upgrade to that number 2 tight end spot where Musgrave and Fitzpatrick are playing. If you feel like you can add like an upgrade, especially with how much 2 tight end sets that they're playing, you could try to do like a Musgrave and like a 5th or a 6th for like an upgrade at tight end or something. But I don't know. I don't see anything at the moment.
So ESPN did a really good like top 25 guys who could be available at the trade deadline breakdown at defensive tackle, and ESPN's hit a couple of these already, by the way. Defensive tackle, 0 guys who are available. Cornerback, there are 5. 2 of them have already been traded. So Michael Carter for the Jets, Roger McCreary for the Titans. Those are both nickel defenders. They got traded to Carter got traded to
Eagles.
Crap. That was just today. Philly. Yeah, he got traded to Philly, and then McCreary got traded from Tennessee to the Rams. And because they needed another corner, that's how he ended up losing Micah Robinson. The other guys are Cam Taylor-Britt of the Cincinnati Bengals, Alontae Taylor for the Saints,
and then Tariq Woolen.
I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, and Tariq Woolen. So like Tariq is like fully benched. Alontae Taylor, I think he's going to cost too much. The Packers are not going to give out another contract. They're already going to have to give out the Quay Walker deal. They better get the Kraft extension done like day 1 of the new league year. They're already going to have to do things like release Elton Jenkins next year. So I don't think that they're going to be willing to do that. And if you're not going to re-sign Alontae Taylor, you're not going to get any of that draft capital back, when he hits free agency, if you're going to spend any of this money too. So I could see maybe Cam Taylor-Britt and Tariq Woolen just because those guys are more like true backups, not getting in games, rentals. And I think that move would be more to like upgrade the Kamal Hadden spot than it is to like push any of our guys as starters this season, at least.
I want to throw 2 other corners at you. Rasul Douglas
I haven't kept up how he's been. He sure looked washed in the 2024 film. I would have to look at what he's looking like in 2025.
I told everyone that I could have possibly told after watching all of his 2024 film that you want nothing to do with the Rasul Douglas business. Like, he looked completely washed in 2024. Now, I have not watched him, I'll be totally transparent, in 2025. I do know that per PFF, he is their 14th ranked corner so far this season. So for whatever that's worth, I have no idea. I need to watch it closer. But apparently, per PFF at least, he's playing good football this year. So that's one that I have to go back and watch, and I will before this weekend. I got one other name for you. What about our guy Eric Stokes, who's apparently playing the best ball of his career with the Raiders, and actually has played a little bit of special teams for Green Bay. I hate the idea. Even just like a little regurgitation came up in my mouth as I said it, but that would be an interesting other one if they wanted to gain a little bit more competition.
I guess.
Yeah. I'm with you.
I think in either of these situations, it's like a pick swap. I don't think you could give outright, a rookie contract away just for those guys on a rental. So if you want to pick swap like a 5th and a 6th or something like that, and we get cornerback depth trying to go on a Super Bowl run, sure. I know Stokes is starting at least for the Raiders right now.
Yep.
So I don't know if they're willing to part with him or what their situation is going to be like. Again, Stokes is another guy. I've seen the numbers. I don't understand the numbers.
I need to go.
Maybe he's just back to what he looked like when he was a rookie and stuff before all the injuries came in. But I was certainly not expecting that from Eric Stokes this past year.
If I told you that the Packers at the deadline would acquire either Rasul Douglas, Eric Stokes, or Jair Alexander, power rank the three from most likely to least likely.
Jair's least likely.
For sure.
I don't know how Rasul feels about Green Bay.
I'd probably say Stokes would be the most likely, and then I think Rasul and then Jair. And none of them are likely.
Yeah, I don't think any of them are likely. But I was also like, why isn't Corey Ballantyne on this team?
Yeah.
Right. So I guess I don't know. We keep having Kamal Hadden up for games and he doesn't do anything for us. Like, he literally doesn't get on the field, but he takes up one of the 48 just in case, because you need to have a break in case of emergency guy at corner. So maybe that's what they're trying to improve, right? Maybe it's something like that where it's like, okay.
I was just gonna say, every once in a while, there's like a player that, like, in all of a sudden, like week 11, that like Green Bay, like you get like a report of like Green Bay really likes this player. Like, there was the Jeremy Ross the one year, and there was the DeJuan Harris the one year. And there's like every once in a while, there's just like a player that just comes out of nowhere and like, oh, Green Bay actually really likes this guy, and now they're gonna like unleash him on the league. And then, DeJuan Harris actually played well. Jeremy Ross did nothing. But so maybe Kamal Hadden is like the secret week 11 weapon or something that like all of a sudden gets called up and they really like him or something. Who knows?
Who's the running back we got? Pierre
Strong?
Pierre Strong Jr.?
Yeah.
Yep. If I were to bet on a guy doing that, I think I would bet on him, just because of what the running back room looks like right now and all that stuff. I just want to throw that out there. Yeah, I don't think we're making a trade. I really don't. If we trade for a corner, right. I don't think it's going to be a starter, guys. I think
I would put it at 80
like
80% no trade, 20% trade is where I'd put it right now.
And probably corner, right? Like, I think at this point it's probably corner, because I think they feel good enough about the defensive tackles after they got over that hump. I did want Mike Pennell, though. I have to admit, I really did want Mike Pennell, but he asked for his release,
been a nice
so that he could sign with the Chiefs.
Yeah. I will say this. As much as a bummer it would be from a fan standpoint, because we love trades, right? We love seeing trades in the NFL. Like, it just gets a buzz. Like, you get that immediate, like hit of like, ooh, who got traded and what did they get and whatever. As a Packers fan, I kind of just want to see no trades. I don't want to see Detroit bolster their defensive line. I don't want to see San Francisco try to replace Nick Bosa or Fred Warner more than what obviously they got Keisean White already. I don't think that's going to do it. I don't want to see the Rams get any better at
even
any
the
position. Yeah,
Like
Eagles too. Yeah, yeah. I don't want to
the
see any of
Eagles
these teams
trade
get
where
any
it's
better.
like, oh, you guys have been lunch at outside cornerback with like Adoree
Yep,
Jackson on the outside, but now you trade for a slot defender and you could bump Cooper DeJean out to outside corner. Like that stinks
yep,
for me.
yep.
That stinks for me. Yeah.
I don't like
So
it. So yeah,
yeah,
I'm
I'm kind of
hoping
with you.
actually for a very quiet deadline for the NFL from a Packers standpoint. Just because I think more bad can come out of it than good. Because even if Green Bay does make a trade, it's going to be like a fifth, sixth, or like a pick swap, or it's going to be something pretty small. Whereas like it wouldn't stun me if one of these other teams. I mean, because the Rams have 2 firsts, right? Rams have 2 firsts. The Eagles, will mortgage all of their future for something
Yeah.
if they want somebody. And yeah, like I could easily see these teams going a little bit more aggressive. San Francisco in the past has traded for Christian McCaffrey and done crazy stuff at the deadline.
Well, they
So
just got Keon White, right? Which like
yeah,
he's gonna help them a lot, unfortunately. I know he wasn't a scheme fit for the Patriots, but Keon White was a guy the Packers brought in on a pre-draft visit, all that stuff. For like 2 years, he was a really, really, really good interior pressure guy for the Patriots. Wasn't so good last year after about like mid-season. And then this year, Vrabel is just like, yeah, we don't want a defensive guy because he's like a defensive end, but really it's user error to use him outside of defensive tackle on pass rushing downs, right? That's what he's there to do.
yeah,
And Vrabel doesn't want to play like that. Unfortunately, he's going to be really good for that Robert Saleh defense. So I think that was a pretty smart
fantastic.
move for San Francisco.
So see San Fran and Philly already upgrading. And so, yeah, no more trades. I'm done.
Yep.
I don't want any more. I'm cool.
And
with
the
no trades.
Rams got the corner too.
Yeah, that's true. That's I
Yep.
don't like it. Don't like any of it. All right, be done, NFL. No more. Deadlines now. Justice, I cannot thank you enough. Anything you want to plug? Acme Packing Company, of course, on the way out.
Come hang out with us for the if you guys want to touch some college football. I'm usually in there on Saturdays when we have the big college football thread and we just like laugh at people and try to figure out where Packer scouts are going. Andy, the Packers have been at 2 places multiple times or seen 2 teams multiple times this year. The first one is LSU.
Okay.
Big program, has a lot of players that come through it, all that stuff, right? I want you to give me your best guess on what the second program is, where they've been 3 different times this year. 3 different times.
Indiana.
Michigan State.
Weird.
I don't get it. The like one pro prospect. They have like a tight end who's going to be like a day 3 guy. They have a center who's apparently like rising, and then they have a quarterback who's a junior and is not going to declare in this class.
Was it maybe who they were playing and not that it was Michigan State? Was it maybe like a way to see the opponents?
So one of them was Wisconsin.
Okay, so no.
One of them was Nebraska, which like Nebraska has a couple kids, but not a ton. And then the other one, they were like playing the children of the poor or something like that. Like they were playing. It was like the FCS game or something. So yeah, I don't know who it is. But it's going to keep me up at night from here until the draft. Like, what is the guy on Michigan State that they like so bad?
You almost wonder if some of those, if it's just like, I guess Michigan State's not something that you're driving through if you're just like happen to be in the area. So like you just,
like they had like Pittsburgh played North Carolina State the night before the Steelers game. And they had like 4 scouts in the building for that. They're just there, right?
Yeah.
Like that makes a lot of sense to me. The Michigan State one, I'm like, you guys are going out of your way to go to Michigan State games. What the hell is going on here?
Yeah, it does seem weird. Huh. Well, guess fire up the Michigan State tape. I don't know. I will say this. I can't. Number one, it always feels like that stuff doesn't amount to much. The pre-draft visits we know do, the top 30 visits, that amounts to a lot of stuff.
Yes.
The other thing is like, there's still a little, I think I said this last week. I'm just going to play Micah Parsons highlights through the entire first round of the draft. There's a little piece of me that's a little bit dead inside knowing that both first round picks are gone the next 2 years. But certainly if that Super Bowl trophy's in Green Bay, or even again, just watching those Micah highlights, I think I'll sleep at night still.
Yeah. I'm nowhere near draft mode. It's just a way to kill time on Saturdays.
Yes. No,
that's where I'm at with this.
Totally get it. Go follow him at JUMOSQ on social media, acmepackingcompany.com. You can find me at Andy Herman NFL. That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back next week talking Packers Eagles, talking if there were any trades, and hopefully a monumentous win over the Carolina Panthers by like 100 points. Justis, we'll talk to you soon. Until next time. And as always, go Pack Go.